Today's Mercedes-Benz interview of the day brought to you by the superbly versatile all-electric EQB from Mercedes-Benz. Feeling is all Mercedes. The vehicle all-electric. Learn more at MBUSA.com/EQB. More phone calls coming up. Season 3 of Welcome to Wrexham. It premieres with 2 episodes tomorrow. That's at 10 Eastern and Pacific on FX. Also available the next day on Hulu. We got a chance to speak to the owners of Wrexham AFC and the executive producers of Welcome to Wrexham, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. We talked to them a couple of weeks ago, and here is our conversation. It's a handsome contest, and I think I'm kicking ass right now.
You sure are. Sure are.
All right.
I didn't wear my Monster Energy drink colors today. I'm glad you did.
Do you have a problem with that?
No. That is a solid sweatshirt, actually. I do not own a neutral colored sweatshirt anymore.
It just feels like we're setting the tone here, and I don't know if I like the tone that's being set. I would give you a yellow card right now, Ryan.
Yeah, I know better than to anger Mr. Dan Patrick.
Okay.
I would never even dare.
Okay. All right. Now let's play nice.
Okay.
Okay.
I believe what you're wearing is brave. That's all I'll say.
Now that's worse than what I said.
That's a shot too.
No, it's not. What are you talking about? Bravery?
Wow.
I could kick both of your asses if I wanted to.
I do not doubt that for
Okay.
a second.
Yeah. Let's not do that. Okay. All right.
Okay.
How close did this almost not happen, Rob?
The entire endeavor?
Yeah.
Not at all. I mean, I think it was something we were going to figure out how to do. It was just a matter of how to do it. But once the pieces started coming together, it was clear that it was going to happen.
Ryan, your best day has been what with this club?
My best day, it's automatically I think you might think that it was being promoted, but I have 2 best days that are tied. One is I think when the club drew against Sheffield. There's a Championship League club that went up to the Premier League that same season, and the kind of heart and soul that we saw in that field that day was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And then the other moment I think was probably Ben Foster's save against Notts County. And also I'd been privy to Ben doing an interview a year before where they said, what would be your fictionalized greatest moment in a football game that you could ever dream up, no matter how ridiculous. And he described that moment, I think, to the letter.
Exactly.
Which happened to him a year later, coming out of retirement like that. That was, I don't think I've ever been that emotional in my life.
Worst day, Rob?
Oh, wow. I would say that loss, the loss against Grimsby Town in the playoff at the end of the first season was pretty low. That was pretty low. I would probably have to rank that as one of the worst days of the experience.
When did you guys decide, or did you decide to shift the focus from you two to the actual team, the actual club?
From the outset.
Day one, yeah.
That was a sure thing. Mainly because and it wasn't because we were being falsely modest or anything. The thing that is so compelling about this town is its inhabitants and people. I mean, and their relationship to this club, and how so many of their benchmark moments, hopes, dreams, and feelings are that corollary between that and the club is just unbelievable. So. And also the stories are just falling off the trees out there. I mean, it's incredible to walk around, talk to people. You can't believe the kind of character they have. It's really something.
And we knew that would maybe draw people, that we would be able to draw people to at least attention to come and watch the first episode, but that it really would get old very quickly just watching the two of us bumble around. And ultimately, those weren't the stories we wanted to tell. We wanted to tell the stories that we believe in as a sports fan, that most sports fans don't understand, is that actually sports are not about triumph. They're actually about loss and despair, and because that's the vast majority of what being a fan is. And how do you overcome adversity? And if you can transcend sport and talk about that as people are going through cancer or going through difficult mental issues in their lives, or literally just trying to get through the day on a basic wage through as the cost of living is being raised, we thought that would be a much more compelling show.
That and Fish Out of Water is really a C plot. You know, how are you going to continue? You can't. Sustainability isn't there with that sort of mindset. So yeah, it was a no-brainer.
Well, also, we look at sports movies like Bull Durham or Hoosiers, and they're not really sports movies. It's about relationships. And trying to capture those relationships is why we invest. Like, I want to invest in somebody that I would never invest in. And that's what you guys were able to capture. Like, there was a Leeds United documentary. I watched it. Sunderland Till I Die. I watched it. I'm like, I don't even care, but I cared so damn much about it. And that's like you guys go from scripted. This is non-scripted. How much do you can you control anything, or do you want to control anything with that?
That one thing I could speak to that is that, you know, Wrexham is it's a town in North Wales, but it's also a town in Pennsylvania. It's a town in Saskatchewan, Canada. It's a town. It's Australia. It's Brazil. It's everywhere. I mean, there's working class people see themselves in that, and that story to me is quite evergreen. But you know, the thing that I probably, you know, will never ever forget is that first step, that first time we went to Wrexham, because what I think the thing that's most insane about the story is we couldn't go there because it was the apex of the pandemic. We couldn't actually go there, so we had sort of assumed stewardship of this club before ever, you know, touching a blade of grass in the race course, which is just, you know, this is the most financially irresponsible endeavor you would ever possibly find. It's just absolute idiocy on paper. But, you know, we don't know that much about financial investment necessarily, but what we do love, and something we've loved in our whole adult lives, is emotional investment. And emotional investment can kind of create that moat around something. And I feel like that moat is around Wrexham, and it is special for that reason. So
have you guys?
People ask me all the time too, like, well, what are my favorite sports documentaries, and like, what are the biggest influences in making the show? And then I'll say it's actually not a documentary, and then they'll say, oh, it's got to be Rocky because we make a lot of Rocky references, and clearly there's a lot of Rocky in my life and a lot of Rocky in the story. But the truth of the matter is that the movie that has been the most influential and the one that I want the show to feel most like is Field of Dreams,
which is not a movie about baseball.
Yeah,
of course not.
Like, it's, you know,
of course not. It's it's about a father and a son, and that is exactly the story that we want to tell.
Almost every movie I've ever produced, I've stolen the score from Field of Dreams, and that's been our temp score for the whole thing. And I realized the last couple of years that it's just cheating. Nothing will ever live up to it, so stop doing it. So I don't.
They are the owners of Wrexham AFC. We're talking to Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney joining us. Season 3 of FX's Welcome to Wrexham premieres with 2 episodes on May 2nd at 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on FX. Available the next day on Hulu. If you guys played in an exhibition match, how would you fare?
Oh, God. I mean, if the exhibition match was in the lobby of a hospital, I think I'd be all right. I mean, you know, given how close the proximity is for medical attention. But no.
What position would I play? I mean, I think that the thing that because you just can't help it, you're like, well, I'm in pretty good shape. Maybe I could keep up a little bit.
No.
And at the end of one of the games, we had Charlie Day and the rest of the cast of Sunny come out, and the guys had already played the game. And what they do is they warm down at the end of the games, which is tragic that they just run 6 miles at full speed, but they still have to warm down. So they're running a very slow pace, and Charlie's like, I'm going to sprint with these guys to see if I can keep up. And they're running at half speed, and he is running at full speed, and he could barely make it across the pitch.
The greatest song ever written was the sound of Charlie Day's hamstring snapping toward the center line at the Wrexham Racecourse ground. Like a beautiful harp.
Ryan, are you going to have Blake maybe be your Taylor Swift with the franchise here?
Well, there is only one Taylor Swift, and there will never be another Taylor Swift. But Blake is as emotionally invested as anyone. I mean, she's been to a ton of matches.
Well, can you get Taylor to show up? Maybe as you know.
That would be a coup. Yeah, I would love that actually.
I know for sure the Kelsey brothers are coming out to a game, so
Yeah.
it's just a matter of
That's
time.
season
See,
4.
that's our backdoor
that's-
plan.
Yeah, that's
that's how you lure the queen bee.
Are you are you still trying to buy a hockey team, Ryan?
No, sir,
No.
not at all.
Ottawa?
No. I love Ottawa. I spent time there as a kid. I lived in Vanier, but no, that is not happening. No.
All right, so just one franchise is all you can have.
This is, I mean, look, I wake up in the morning, 80% of the emails in my inbox have to do with Wrexham. I mean, I'm chewing and blowing bubbles with Wrexham all the live long day. There's no room for anything else. So.
But have you ever said, "Hun, I just bought a midfielder"? Like, do you ever have one of those days where, wait, what are you doing? I got a striker,
Well, it's like beer. You're borrowing it, really. Yeah, I don't think you're buying or owning. But yeah.
But we are investing heavily into those players. But yes, it's the same. It's actually a lot like golf, where like you could have, as everybody knows that plays golf, nobody cares about how you played golf, and so I'll come home and I'll be like, "Honey, I shot an 80," and she's like, "Oh my God, do the dishes," and I'm like, "I get it." Yeah. But it's a similar thing where I'm like, "Honey, we just like signed a midfielder," and she's like, "Oh my God, congratulations!" She's actually really legitimately
100%.
excited. It's like so that's a really good feeling. She's very much invested in the club.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you guys will. Are you still acting? You guys going to act? Or you giving up acting?
So I'm sorry, Dan, we're out of time.
Oh no!
If you could please wrap this, that would be great.
That's a cliffhanger.
Let me say one thing before you go, because I've met you in person many times and I've said this to you already, but I'd like to say it on your show. And I'm sure you hear this from so many people, but you are such a huge part of my generation and so many people younger than me and maybe a little bit older in bringing the story of sports to life in a way that I'd never seen before. To bring, you literally created it, the comedy. But also the excitement, and to present it in a way to a whole new generation of sporting fan, I believe actually like changed sports. And so I think that you in particular have just been a beacon and a guiding force for us to be able to do what we do. So
one of the great storytellers, and I know we're running out of time a long time ago, but I also want to say that I was so nervous the first time I got to meet you, and it was at Super Bowl 2016 in San Francisco. And I sat on your show there, and I was utterly geeked out because you've been one of the great sports storytellers of a generation, and I'm we're very grateful to have got to actually sit down in the hot seat with you.
It felt like Rob was sincere. You weren't as sincere with that, Ryan.
No, I'm just competing with Rob. I wasn't at Super Bowl in 2016. That was Ben Affleck.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I like that you. I love that you can't take a compliment just like we can. So that's fine. You just deflect.
Yeah.
You just deflect.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Have a great day, everybody, and
Thanks,
good luck
guys.
to season 3. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
sir.
you.
That's Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney. Season 3 of FX's Welcome to Wrexham. Yeah, the moderator interrupts us.
His face, Ryan Reynolds' face, when you hear, "I'm sorry, Dan, we're out of time." His face was absolutely hilarious. That was priceless. Oh!
Welcome to Wrexham tomorrow at 10 Eastern and Pacific on FX.